4 years, and it's never a dull moment with somebody threatening or something, botting channels. But make a long story short, that is part of the business that you sign up for when you make yourself a public figure. And that's all I'm saying with this entire thing is that if these players open up themselves to the public, you cannot be mad when the public feel a certain type of way about you. That's the moral of the entire story. Now, everybody has been waiting to hear from Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm going to tell you, she has not spoken to any media yet.
It appears Caitlin Clark has already given her reply to the entire mess circulating online this past week. That reply came in the form of complete silence. Her behavior is doing the talking, showing everyone she isn't rattled by any of it. Stephanie White held that press conference, the clip everyone was replaying yesterday, and it set the internet on fire. A lot of people are suggesting Stephanie White might actually be leaning towards supporting Alyssa Thomas, essentially saying the players need to be shielded.
Yet she ain't did no media run, no media talk, but she did appear at a soccer game. Now, we're going to get to that on X in a hot second, but something else we have to address is Dan Dietrich and Christine Brennan of USA Today having a very, very detailed interview about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA LGBTQ community, basically targeting Caitlin Clark fans and damn near targeting Caitlin Clark.
One point raised by Sean McCoy on Speakeasy yesterday was that basically every professional athlete deals with death threats. Even people who make content online catch them too. Count how often someone drops a comment threatening to catch a creator at some event or venue. It happens constantly. This work has gone on for close to 4 years now, and there's rarely a calm stretch without some threat or channel getting attacked by bots.
And damn near targeting Caitlin Clark a person, because we all forgot when Caitlin Clark got them death threats too, when one fan stated that they was ready to inflict harm and violence against Caitlin Clark. Guys, we got to look at this cycle. Not once did we ever hear Caitlin Clark say something about that situation. You want to know what Caitlin Clark did? Ignored it. Went on about her day. Play basketball, talk to the media about the game, but you never see her actually portray herself as being the victim. See, that is something that these WNBA players...
Still, that's part of what comes with putting yourself in the public eye. The whole point being made here is simple. Once these athletes put themselves out there for public consumption, they can't turn around and be upset when the public reacts a certain way toward them. That's the core takeaway from this entire mess. Everyone has been anticipating a statement from Caitlin Clark. She hasn't given one, not through any outlet, no press circuit, nothing.
Is being the victim. See, that is something that these WNBA players do a lot. They always make themselves a victim and not take responsibility for their actions on the basketball court. Now, with that being said, let's head on over to X so I can show y'all what the hell I'm talking about. Now, something I want to talk about before we get into Caitlin Clark response to Stephanie White and this whole Alyssa Thomas situation. Now, we heard Alyssa Thomas give her response to the media. Now, this is a clip from Caitlin.
She was spotted at a soccer match, though, and that's coming up shortly. There's also the matter of Dan Dietrich and Christine Brennan of USA Today conducting a lengthy conversation touching on Caitlin Clark and the WNBA's LGBTQ community, which ended up targeting Clark's supporters and nearly painting Clark herself in a negative light. People tend to forget Clark also received death threats before, back when a fan openly said they wanted to cause her physical harm. Look at this repeating pattern. Clark never once spoke publicly about that incident.
Clip from Caitlin Clark, which was a couple months ago, which was like almost like a nonsense question. But listen to the level of professionalism Caitlin Clark have about this question. Let's roll the clip real quick. Let's listen.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first question.
I wanted to ask about golf, but she went to the leg sleeve.
People are wondering.
Just a little compression on the leg. I mean, I don't know.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first.
What did she do instead? She brushed it off and moved forward with her routine, played her games, spoke to reporters about the matchups, but never positioned herself as some kind of victim. That's the difference with a lot of these WNBA athletes. They frequently cast themselves as victims, instead of owning their actions on the floor.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first.
So you guys heard Caitlin Clark response Now, some of you guys are saying probably to yourself, John, why play that? Because it just shows you how Caitlin Clark plays with the media. She don't give them a negative headline. She don't have to. She's media trained, and that's something a lot of these professional women basketball players are not. They are not media trained. So them saying little things, even Stephanie White. Stephanie White work at ESPN. It's just certain things she just should not say because it's going to be a bone.
Before diving into Clark's reaction to the Stephanie White remarks and the whole Alyssa Thomas incident, there's something worth mentioning first. Alyssa Thomas already addressed reporters. There's also older footage of Clark, from a few months back, fielding what was almost a throwaway question, and it's worth noting how composed she remained through it. That clip showed reporters asking about a leg sleeve, joking they wanted to ask about golf instead but got sidetracked. People are curious about the small compression piece on her leg.
ESPN. It's just certain things she just should not say because it's going to be a bonehead mistake. Just like her sounding like. Now, I'm not saying that she actually meant to basically defend Alyssa Thomas, but it sounded extremely like she was defending it and putting it all off on the fans and not letting AT take responsibilities for choking Caitlin Clark out on the basketball court. Now, this is the moment we all have been waiting for. So this is Caitlin Clark in attendance for USA versus Bosnia at the FIBA World Cup 2026.
That exchange demonstrates exactly how Clark handles reporters. She never hands them a controversial soundbite. She doesn't need to. She's clearly media savvy, something many of these professional women's basketball players simply haven't developed. That's why small offhand remarks become issues.
26 of the 32nd match in San Francisco. So as you guys can see here, throughout all of this BS that is currently going on, Caitlin Clark pulled up to USA Soccer and enjoyed her day. Look like she's not really tripping off exactly what is going on here. Now, some of the comments said it so good to see her. She gets in harder than any of these guys, and nothing is called. She definitely get hit harder than any NBA player right now.
Even Stephanie White, who works with Espen, should know better than to phrase things the way she did, because it read as a careless slip. Not suggesting she intentionally meant to shield Alyssa Thomas, but the tone came across that way, shifting blame onto fans instead of acknowledging responsibility for choking Clark during the game. Now comes the part everyone's been waiting on. Clark showed up for the USA versus Bosnia match at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Game 32 of the tournament, held in San Francisco. Despite all the chaos swirling around her, Clark went out, attended the soccer match, and seemed to enjoy herself without a hint of stress.
She's straight and white. And before we get to the actual numbers, I want to take you back. This is the story of Candace Wiggins. Now, Candace Wiggins was bullied out of the WNBA for being straight. This is a story that doesn't get enough attention. I've done videos on this before, but I just want you to keep all of this in mind in light of what it was Stephanie White had to say yesterday.
Comments under the post said things like how nice it was to see her out, that she takes harder contact than most guys and nothing gets flagged for it. She likely absorbs harder hits than any NBA player currently active, and that's a fairly agreeable point. Anyone who doubts that Clark gets fouled more aggressively than NBA players needs a reality check. One remark mentioned Lucky Charm, which won't be read aloud here. Another said if the image was genuine, it shows how much she loves American sports, though it did look artificially generated.
I mean, let's be real. Stephanie White trying to bully you out of being a fan of the league. That's exactly what she tried to do. Check this out.
This week,
Someone else called it wild watching top competitors act fake, joking she must be flying 3 hours despite recovering her back. Another claimed it had to be AI generated, doubting anyone would believe it's real. One more called it awesome, unsure whether it was AI or not, expressing genuine uncertainty. After digging deeper, it turns out that image actually was AI generated. It wasn't authentic, so disregard anything said earlier treating it as real. since a fact check confirmed it wasn't a genuine photo.
This week, former Lynx player Candace Wiggins took a shot. This one not aimed at the hoop, but the whole league. In a candid interview with the San Diego Union Tribune, Wiggins, who retired last March after 8 seasons in the WNBA, said she was bullied throughout her career, essentially for being straight. Quote, "I would say 98% of the women in the WNBA are gay women. It was a conformist type of place. There was a whole different set of rules they could apply," end quote. She goes on to say, quote, "People..."
With that cleared up, here's what Good Morning America reported regarding Clark and the Alyssa Thomas situation. The aftermath from the WNBA incident involving Clark and Thomas continues. Thomas, a 6-time All-Star with the Mercury, claims she's been receiving death threats following the moment she appeared to jab her fist toward Clark's throat during a recent matchup. The correspondent covering this noted how much traction the story has gained. Thomas insists it was purely unintentional, yet she's now being framed as aggressive and facing threats over it.
Quote, she goes on to say, quote, "People were deliberately trying to hurt me all the time. I had never been called the B word."
Does that sound familiar to anybody? People were deliberately trying to hurt me all the time. Does that sound like Caitlin Clark? Add in a little layer of being white in all of this. People were deliberately trying to hurt me all the time.
So many times in my life than I was in my rookie season.
She expressed frustration that the league isn't doing enough to safeguard its athletes off the court. The Mercury star publicly criticized Commissioner Kathy Engelbert after claiming she and her family received death threats tied to this Clark incident. She drew a distinction between ordinary trolling and outright hatred, describing what she's currently facing as the latter. The play occurred during last Wednesday's matchup between Phoenix and Indiana. Clark ended up at the bottom of a pile chasing a loose ball, and at one moment, Thomas's fist appeared to press into her neck.
I was in my rookie season. I'd never been thrown to the ground so much. The message was, "We want you to know we don't like you," end quote. And by rookie season, she means the Lynx. We reached out to the Lynx, no comment. WNBA, no comment. So the narrative gets rolled over to social media, where several current and former players are speaking out. Misty Bass said that wasn't her experience. Imani Boyette wondering why Wiggins is shaming the whole league.
After reviewing the play afterward, the league changed the original no call to a flagrant 2 and handed Thomas a 1-game suspension. The image of a fist near someone's throat is being described as alarming and hazardous. Thomas says since the game, she and her relatives have faced threats along with racial slurs, and she's calling out Commissioner Engelbert for insufficient protective measures. She stressed how ironic it is that court safety gets so much focus while players' actual lives are being threatened repeatedly, demanding stronger support from league leadership. The WNBA responded by condemning all forms of hatred, stating that community safety remains its top concern, adding that league security has been coordinating with the Phoenix organization to protect all athletes involved.
Devro Peters also refuting the claims.
All right, we're going to stop it right there, but what does this tell you? What does this tell you in light of the comments from the coach of the Indiana Fever and of this right here? This is the voting results from the WNBA, and look, amongst guards, Caitlin Clark finished.
Reporters reached out to the Fever organization but received no response yet. The two teams face off again on July 9th. Regardless of whether the play was intentional, no one should be subjected to threats like this. While no one deserves such threats, there's mounting pressure on the commissioner, some would argue rightfully so, given everything happening within the league, and the growing spotlight it's under, requiring firm leadership at the top. That segment came from USA Today, and regarding this Clark-Thomas situation, as predicted earlier, things appear to be worsening before any improvement. That's simply where things currently stand.
From the WNBA, and look, amongst guards, Caitlin Clark finished second with fans. Wow. Wow. This is wild. But look at this. This is the player rank. This is the player rank. Caitlin Clark is number 11 among all guards among the guards that qualified. 11. Are you kidding me?
Stephanie White's remarks on this topic have gone viral, and that's what's being reviewed next, followed by the Dan Dietrich discussion. White opened by mentioning she wore a colleague's sneakers that day, before addressing questions directly related to what's been happening with Alyssa Thomas. She called it completely unacceptable, noting that the league overall has seen a rise in toxic behavior, racism, homophobia, and outright hateful nonsense, which she deems entirely unacceptable. Most of it, she believes, stems from online spaces rather than genuine 1BA supporters. Though friction between players and teams is a separate, expected matter. She emphasized that avoiding cruelty isn't difficult, and anyone engaging in that kind of online behavior shouldn't consider themselves true fans of the league.
Are you kidding me? I mean, I can at least say this. The media had Caitlin Clark at 3. But this is where it gets even more interesting. Kelsey Plum, white and straight, is 12th amongst the players on this list. This is a level of disrespect and jealousy and pettiness and hatefulness.
She described the league as centered on inclusion, competition, and elevating women, players, coaching staff, and everyone involved, not about tearing people down or perpetuating a harmful storyline, calling the whole situation simply unacceptable. Christine Brennan shared her perspective on a podcast as well, worth a quick listen. She discussed the lasting image this will leave on the league, the visual of a fist near someone's throat, calling it significant. She wished the situation didn't carry racial undertones, saying she wished it had involved different people entirely to avoid turning it into a racially charged